Welcome to That's Joy, the podcast. I'm your host, Cece Calbanero, and I'll be sharing stories of miracles, God moments, and unpacking the truth behind what joy truly means. My friend, when God gives you a direct call on your life, be sure to answer it. Here's to answering my call together. Hello, and welcome back to That's Joy, the podcast. I'm your host, Cece, and I'm so grateful that you hit play on today's episode. We're going in on habits, and I know that y'all love these episodes so much. But before we dive into that, you might not know, if you're new around here, that we kick off every episode with that's right, all the loyal listeners just said, joyful noise. Okay, maybe you didn't say that out loud, but every episode, I love kicking off each one with a little joyful noise, which is just my version of good news. Like, what are the good things that are happening? How in the world do we highlight and get more of that? And so on this week's episode, we're highlighting all of the sweet reviews that y'all have left us lately. And so I just want to read a few of them with you. This one says, 5 stars, so encouraging. I've been listening to this podcast for a year. Okay, thank you for listening, sweet friend. And it has been such a blessing to me. Cece is so joyful and encouraging and always seems to share wisdom that helps me out and encourages/motivates me to live a full life focused on the Lord. I highly recommend it. That means so much. Thank you. Child of God, 33. I know that you have a real name, and I'm so grateful that you took time out of your day to write in and say such sweet things. So thank you for doing that. Another one says from Ungonzo93, 5 stars, absolutely love this pod. Looks like you were a Delta Gamma too, because I see our little signature there. It reads, Cece, I have listened since day one, and I'm incredibly overjoyed to watch you flourish. You are so encouraging and uplifting. I look forward to tuning in every week. That means so much. So thank you for writing in and just being so loyal from the beginning. I mean, we've been on this journey for 3 years now, so I don't take that lightly one bit, and it means a lot. I'm going to read one more. It says, love this podcast, so encouraged. Cece, I love your podcast. You are so encouraging. I'm so encouraged by your heart for the Lord. Grateful to have found a podcast that I love. Thank you for being so honest, open, and vulnerable. That is not easy to do. Well, friend, thank you for being so kind. It means more than you know. And, I've always heard and fully believe that vulnerability just invites vulnerability. And so when I am able to open up, my hope is that in your world, in your space, you're able to do even just a fraction of that too. So thank you for the sweet words. If you have not yet left a review, you can go anytime to Apple Podcasts, whether you listen there or not, and write in a little review. I'm telling you, it does wonders for podcasters. So I say this often, but not just for me, like for real, every podcast that you listen to that you love, where they're pouring content into your earbuds or into your car or your Google Home, whatever that looks like, it means so much when you take the time to do that. So thank you in advance. All right, today's episode, we are diving back into habits. And so I know that when I bring up the word habits, a lot of you guys gravitate because you're like, all right, tell me what I need to do so that I can up-level this area of my life, because I know that it's an area that I want to focus on. And I love that you all do that because it's so important to keep it at the forefront, right? If it's not at the forefront, then we probably need to do something about that. So I just want to explain to you guys how I'm kind of leaning into my habits despite our traveling year. And what I will share and be so honest in is that it is not easy. It does not come super easy, and it's something that I need to do because it aligns with my goals and it's so important to me. And so even though it is a touch honestly, in my opinion, more challenging while you do not have your set home and your set routines to establish habits. I do still think that it can be done. And so for you who's listening, maybe you're not necessarily traveling. Well, it better be a little bit easier, okay? I'm just giving you the truth. And so if you've not yet established your morning routine, that is what I believe is essential to accomplishing any habit that includes your health. And so for me, what this has looked like, and again, I just want to share through the lens of the season that I'm in right now, because you can listen and go back to an OG episode. I think it's in the beginning of the 30s or 40s. I'll try to link it in the show notes below, where I talk about being rooted and having habits. But right now in this season, the last 2 weeks of Jonathan and I being in California, it's been very tricky figuring out what gym we're going to, what time we're waking up every single day, where we're keeping majority of our clothes, which is at my mom's place because she has an extra bedroom, but we travel a bit to my brother's place and stay the night there because we love hanging out with my nieces and nephews and hanging out with them. And so our stuff is a bit scattered. We're all over the place. We have different morning routines, and when we wake up at different places, we choose different things. And so of course it can be a bit challenging to establish habits in that sense. What I will openly and honestly share is that I actually in December recommitted to working with my nutrition coach again. I also have a podcast episode with her. Her name is Reagan Davis. I do believe she might have a few spots open still if you are looking to dive in and have nutrition coach help. That, if you've never done that before and you struggle with figuring that out on your own, is absolutely worth the investment. My friends, it's worth every single penny that it costs and more, but it's not more, right? So reach out to her if you're in a position of getting really serious about your nutrition and your goals in that sense. But I'm working with her again because I know that without another layer of accountability and monetary investment, I just will fall short to myself each time. And I'm aware enough to recognize those things in myself, right? So I knew that having a coach in this season was just going to be helpful to deny the extra cookie, to say no to the extra scoop of ice cream. Like, it's those little things. And you might be listening right now and saying like, oh, well, Cece, you look great and you work out every day. Like, why do you need to do that? And the truth of the matter is, for me, friends, is that right before our wedding, I weighed the lightest that I have and I felt the best that I have. And so despite the number that sits on the scale, I know that I'm not feeling the best that I ever had. And that is something that I want more than anything as I enter a new decade of life. Okay, I'm turning 30 this April 8th to be exact. Shout out to my April babies out there, but I want to feel my best and I want to run a freaking half marathon this year. And so I want to make sure that I'm doing that, not with extra lbs on my body where it is affecting my joints, my knees, and my ankles and everything like that. And so I just want to feel my best. Is there a certain number in my mind? Sure. Does that number actually matter? No. It's how I feel. And right now I know that there's a little gap to where I am and where I want to be. And so in order to help me close that gap, I'm committed with Reagan, imperfectly, by the way, especially the last 2 weeks, to hit my macros and to hit my protein goals and to drink enough water. And so right now, I have a couple different habits that I'm sticking to, and feel free to steal these and run with them because you don't need a prescription to do tiny habits like this. The first one is hitting an amount of water per day. She has this new app, my nutrition coach. So if you did sign up with her, I'm sure that you would have access to this app too. But I love it, a habit tracker system on here that says like yes or no or skipping that day. And so one of the first habits that I have for myself here is drinking enough water. And my goal is to have 120 ounces per day. A good rule of thumb is drinking half of your body weight in ounces per day. So I'm flying over that metric. I got a bigger water bottle from Jonathan for Valentine's Day. And so basically 4 bottles of the 32 ounce will help me hit that goal. The next habit tracker that I have in here is what Reagan calls parasympathetic activity before bed. So just making sure that you're doing things, in short, that are calming your mind, that are not scrolling before bed, that are putting yourself and your nervous system in a restful state, ready to enter a deep sleep. And so some of the ways that I love doing that is reading before bed. Truthfully, the last 2 weeks, I've not done a good job at this, but what I will say is that Jonathan and I do lay down for a bit before we fully fall asleep, just like fully resting. We never sleep with the TV on. We never sleep with like music on. If anything, I have my Hatch alarm clock that I absolutely recommend and cannot rave enough about. But it has like a white noise sound feature on there. So if anything, we'll play that with a little night light or no light at all. And that has just helped us tremendously. So I hope that that also helps you as well, because in order to be healthy, we have to have ample sleep. And I think that that's something that's often not talked about in trending health news, is how much your rest actually impacts your weight loss, how your rest impacts your sleep and your stress levels and all of that. So that is for a health professional to cover, not your girl, but just know it's important, okay? The next habit that I have on here is 10K steps. And so I've been falling short to this too, a couple days a week, and I'm not proud of it, because back in Nashville, when we lived where we lived and had our routines set, like I would fly over 10K sometimes. I would get 11K, 12K. And so right now I just need to pick a time and then make sure I'm walking. And so we just signed up, I'm really excited about it, a new gym called Lifetime here in the Bay Area. And so we actually work from there as well. But because of that, it's such a walk-friendly place in general where it's located. It's kind of like downtown near a bunch of shops and restaurants and coffee shops. And so walking around there, now that it's becoming a little bit more nice outside, is huge. But then also there's treadmills upstairs. So what we can do is take our hour block where we would be editing on our phones for clients or for ourselves. We can go upstairs and be walking and editing and just habit stacking in that way. And by the way, if you've never read Atomic Habits by James Clear, literally pause this right now and just buy that. Like, I'll put my link in the show notes so you can purchase it. But you need to read that book. It will absolutely change your mindset around habits and how you can embody one habit and then make it and have it evolve to 5. That doesn't just happen when you choose 5 and run with it. It's this concept and idea that James Clear shares where he talks about habit stacking. So 10 out of 10, go read that book. The other habit that I have truthfully not done these last 2 weeks since the move is 3 30-minute Stairmasters weekly. And so this is just on top of my current workout routine. And so what I love as my workout routine is working out with strength classes 4 days a week. So I'll typically do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Those are typically full body. I love pushing myself. I love lifting really heavy things. My mom just bought a washer a couple weeks ago, and Jonathan and myself, it's like an XL washer, y'all. It's massive. You can fit like comforters inside of it. Well, long story short, she got it off of Facebook Marketplace. It was barely used. We went to go pick it up. Massive thing. Jonathan and myself picked it up by ourselves, and the woman had recommended that we had 3 people pick it up, but we did it by ourselves, and that's on strength, and that's on me being proud of myself for lifting heavy things, okay? So I love doing those classes 4 times a week, having either a rest or that Stairmaster day on that Wednesday, and then typically I love Saturday, either running or doing something playful. And so again, that will just kind of change as we are in different cities and what things we have going on, and that is my ideal workout routine. And I love when I'm able to work out in the mornings, but depending on different work meetings, now that we're working with central clients and we're Pacific right now, we're just in the season of adaptability, and I'm good with that. I just want to make sure that as I'm recording this and looking forward to the next few weeks, I'm being hyper intentional with making sure that I'm hitting these goals. The last one that she has on here for me is 4 to 5 servings of fruits/veggies daily. So again, these habits are tailored to me and the goals that I wish to achieve in the next few months. And so veggies and whole foods is something that doesn't come as easily. I'll hit my protein goal because we have a Fairlife drink or Quest chips as a supplement to a 6-ounce chicken and a 30-gram shake in the morning, right? And so based on those things, I know that that's an extra challenge for me to make sure that I'm eating more than fruit, vegetables, like just more whole food vegetables throughout the day. And again, it's really easy when we're eating at home, a lot harder when you're eating out. So you just got to choose, like, what season are you in is the first thing that I would ask myself when it comes to these healthy girl habits. What season are you in right now? Are you studying for finals and getting ready for a crazy spring and entering summer season? And does it make sense for you to lock in the sense of going through a full diet phase right now? Great, don't do that right now, but you could still commit to healthy habits, right? Making sure that 1, you're eating enough. I'm speaking to somebody right now. Or 2, maybe you're not eating because you're stressed. I'm speaking to somebody right now, right? I have been in both positions before, and so I say that to younger self to make sure that you're fueling appropriately no matter the season that you're in. And then 2, think of things that are actually attainable. Like, goals are most achieved when they are SMART goals, right? I've shared this before, but those are obtainable goals that are measurable, actionable, timely, all of those different things. So I just want you to keep those things in mind as you have your habits lined up at the forefront of your mind to help you achieve those dreams that we talked about last week, right? Those dreams are not going to be achieved if you're not hitting your daily habits. And so why have my daily habits for work that I want to make sure that I'm doing? And in the same breath, I have my daily habits for health so that I am showing up as my optimal best every single day. And does it mean 100% every single day? No. Sometimes it looks like even 30%. But if I gave what I had that day, and that looked like all of my 30%, then that was really 100% for that day. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't always have to be perfect every week. It just has to be your best. And you and only you are in charge of how honest you are with that answer. No coach can tell you that. No significant other can tell you that. No roommate, best friend, or mom can tell you that. You've got to be honest with you. What's that growth going to look like this year? And how long are you going to put off those habits that you've been thinking about for so long? Waking up and reading your Bible. I mean, even for me right now in this season, I'm like, okay, if we're going to the gym first thing, I need to be bringing my Bible and my journal, and I haven't been doing that. So I'm realigning. I'm reassessing this next upcoming week. And Jonathan and I are very on the same page with like, all right, this is the week where we will have the most normal week to date. And there's grace, right? There's grace because there's adaptability that has to happen. Without a question, you've got to be adaptable if you want to see growth. But in the same breath, are you being honest with yourself? Again, you and only you can answer that question. If there's a certain part of this episode that you really loved, I would love to know what it is so we can go in even more on that specific thing or that specific topic. And I would love to bring in more health professionals. So if you have any recommendations on people you would love to hear from in this area of life, DM me who that is and what your thoughts are. You can DM me at CCALBONERO on Instagram, or you can follow That's Joy and DM That's Joy, the podcast, on there too. By the way, if you're DMing me and you haven't hit that follow button yet, hit that follow button. It means so much and I'm so grateful. You can subscribe to the Joy Corner, which is our newsletter as well. Just run to that'sjoypodcast.com and you could subscribe there. If you have not yet subscribed, rated, or left a review for That's Joy, like I shared at the top of this episode, go do that right now. It would mean the world, and it takes 2 minutes or less to run to each platform, to drop the 5 stars, and then write a little review on Apple. Thank you in advance for doing that too. I joke right now, but I truly mean it. It means a lot. And then I think that is all of the things, except for one more thing. I'll never leave an episode of That's Joy without saying, if you've got even the smallest desire to meet the creator of the universe, or if you've already been saved but you're not really free, I want to invite you to sit at the table of plenty with me and so many others. I'm telling you, there's abundance here. There is joy here, and there's so much to be grateful for here. All you've got to do is open up your heart. Thank you, Jesus, for every person who has decided that. I love you, friends. God loves you so much. If you just made that decision, I'd love to know who you are so I could pray for you. Shoot me that DM over at CCALBONERO. Until next time, I'll talk to y'all next time. I hope that you absolutely crush your habits this week.